Matara Kan, Young Men Don't Commit by Tsubasa Indie.
At what age range is Matara looking for a husband? 35 plus, but the problem with the problem with men, this is gonna, it's gonna start off good. I'm not gonna get canceled when I begin my sentence with the problem with men. From what I have noticed in my recent experiences is that men, okay, hear me out. But now I have to, now this is gonna sound cocky. I was gonna say most men hit on me. Now that, Matara,
Sure.
you're being cocky. Most men will flirt with me.
Sure.
Bam. Okay. Sentence over. Boom. Okay. Boom. She's cocky. She's confident. Whatever. But the problem is, men between the ages of 25 to 35 are like, hey, let's just go on dates, sleep together, come over, do my dishes, do my laundry. Would you want to have kids? But I'm not really sure what I'm looking for. I'm not really sure I like you like that. But can we?
No, I mean, as somebody who looks at my peers, I feel this 100% tracks. I'm the odd one, okay? I already know that looking for somebody in the dating pool that is non-existent, because the only people I see when I go outside are 20s and 40 plus, right? Everyone in my age bracket is, especially here in Idaho, is working, right? It's one of those weird ones I've had to talk about for a little bit and come to the understanding that everyone in my age bracket is just working. Where, no, I feel she's absolutely on point with this. I feel that, it's going to be a lot of this like, well, maybe, and not having that defines what they're looking for. I'm kind of the inverse of this because at minimum, I can cut through a solid chunk of that bell curve because if you cannot communicate like an adult, I don't want anything to do with you from a romantic standpoint. It's so interesting to see how I interact with my peers around me and seeing what my peers do and how often my peers run into the same issues. I've been single for the past however many years, and it's really fun when I have people asking me for relationship advice. I've had a couple of viewers do it. I've had some friends reach out asking for relationship advice. It's been really interesting.
Hold hands. Would you like to meet my parents? And I'm kind of at a point where guys that are 25 or under
Sure.
are like, ma'am, give me a chance. I just want, ma'am, you don't understand. Miss, if you just let me in, if you give me a shot, madam, I will make you the happiest woman alive. Or men over 35 or over 40, who it's the same thing, where they're like, miss, please give me the chance and opportunity to date you, to marry you. You want someone serious? I am serious. But alas, and again, obviously not all men, but from what I have noticed from my experiences and some of my friends' experiences, a lot of men between 25 to 35 are like, I don't know if I really like you like that. Matara, you're nice and all, but I just don't know. I know you say you want to call once a week and go on a date once a week and cuddle, but I don't know. It's just a lot of commitment. I'm just so busy. I'm just so busy all the time.
I wonder if it's the party phase. Like, I'm trying to think about, right? So, like, you look at, in the conversations I've had with Buddy, right? Like, because we're talking, we talk society, we talk trends, etc., right? So, sociology, psychology, right? Just random stuff we talk about. And when it comes to dating, it's like, so you have your 20-some-year-olds who either can have a full ride on the bank of mommy and daddy and be able to get a house and just like, well, you should have saved your money. Meanwhile, you're 30 looking at them like, excuse you? We had our parents talk about how they went uphill both ways barefoot to school each and every day, right? Like there's a cognitive disconnect there. And then if you're, say, 40 plus, I mean, you're riding off of some sort of benefits in a very overgeneralized sense, right? Or you're owning a business. You kind of have things figured out in a certain way. I'm noticing, I'm approximately 30, right? Yeah, anywhere between 5 years younger than me, so 25 to 5 years older than me, about 35. There seems to be, it's not a disconnect, but there's definitely a different way of doing things. And it fascinates me because, like, I'll go to like a game shop or whatever, and 20-year-old somethings, you know, they're like talking about their girlfriends and they're talking about their relationships, how they met through each other. You're talking, you know, talk to someone in my parents' age bracket or someone, you know, even a little older than me. They're talking about how they met their significant other, how they ended up dating and stuff like that. But people in, you know, my age bracket, that approximately 30, right? 30 being the top of the bell curve, it's like a lot of non-relationships or a lot of problems with relationships. And just you know, it's fascinating. It's fascinating to watch the cause and effect, and I wonder how much of it's nature and how much of it's nurture.
For you. So I'm kind of in this weird spot where everyone's non-committal. Everyone's like, I don't know. You want me to text you once every 5 days to let you know that I'm not dead because I don't use any social media and I'm nowhere? And if I don't text you once every 5 days, you won't know if I'm dead or alive?
I can't get behind that, dude. I can't understand that. Like, so I text like, let me see my random, what is my Discord? Like people I know in Discord, like right now, I'm messaging them damn near like every day. Unless I know, like, so I have a Cap Scout buddy, like he has a family and stuff like that, right? So generally what I'll do, and I do this with a lot of people, I'll like send them a message. And it's with the understanding that, look, you'll respond to this when you have time. You have a family. You have a job. You have a commitment like college or whatever, right? Sure, maybe we don't speak like every day, but like the people who I actively speak to, I'll just bug, right? Like our mod Rev, I send them random TikToks just every now and again. I'll send him just random dumb stuff, right? So if we're looking at a relationship standpoint and you're like, yeah, no, you're totally okay to message me. Yeah, I'm messaging every single day because I enjoy, it's not out of any committal thing. It's because I enjoy being around the person, right? I enjoy their presence. I'll send them the things, right? Generally, I keep it pretty clean because, you know, while some of us might go on Twitter and we'll see, you know, Fifi Vtuber in our feed, potentially, or Cottontail VA or Project Melody in our Twitter feeds, not everyone wants to see that in their Twitter feeds. So, yeah, you keep things clean, right? But it's like, it even transcends, like, how was your day? It's just like just sending them a meme or sending them something fun you did with your day, right? Like, oh, I made this quinoa dish today, or I made fish tonight, or hey, guess who's having lobster? We're bougie tonight, right? Like, I almost think it's a breakdown in social ability, right? With my age bracket, I almost think that it has to do with being not able to communicate effectively or appropriately. I would very much like to see a psychologist and sociologist respective takes on this. It'd be fascinating to watch that. But yeah, I mean, I wonder if it has to do with a communication thing or expectations and expectations overriding reality. I think that there's a lot to really draw from this. And it's really fascinating watching Matara's point of view on this.
Oh, no, that's a lot. That's a lot. But yeah, for some reason, the 25 and unders are, I don't know what's up with the young men these days, but young men who are activated by hags.
Dude,
the young men who are activated by hags are like, ma'am, please tag me in. I will do anything, madam. Please, you don't understand. If you just give me one crumb of a chance, ma'am. No, Ice, just to be clear, when we talk about texting, in no way, shape, or form am I expecting people to text me all the time, right? I'm like, look at me. I'm busy now. Before this stream, I was hanging out with Michi. Then I was in a call. I'm not saying text me every day, all day, tell me what you're up to. But
sure,
if you are in a committed something, you know, I need to know that you're alive at least once every few days.
Like, and that's the thing, right? What happens if you go on a weekend what is it, a bender is what they call it? You just go out with your buddies on the weekend, you end up 3 states over after drinking heavily Friday night, and you just message, yo, I'm still alive. I went out with Jerry and John. I woke up 2 states over, but I'm back in the state now. Like, I'm all fine. Everything's good. Like, I got my wallet and stuff, right? Hey, cool. Thanks for keeping me updated. That kind of thing, right? And I think like as I mentioned with my buddy, right? Not that we're in a relationship, right? Like, he has his own wife, kids, etc., right? But it's like to keep updated with each other. Hey, I will send you this thing, and it's with the inherent understanding you'll respond when you get to it, like when you physically have time, right? I think that I guess I could argue social media might have an impact on this because we're so used to that instant gratification, and this isn't a jab at social media, right? As somebody who uses social media, someone who actively enjoys social media, right? Like, it's not necessarily that like social media is this big bad, but like the expectation. Because back in my day, you used to have to text somebody, and then hey, you could see if they were online. We didn't really have at least widespread usage of Facebook, MySpace, anything on like mobile, right? I'm sure maybe some things did, but like there was a time where it's like, you had to call someone and leave something on their answering machine or in their voicemail, right? Or you had to text somebody and they got back to you when they could, right? Or you page somebody. I guess pages are more for like, job positions and stuff, right? Hospital staff having pages and stuff. And it's been so normalized that I'm going to go message Raven right now, and Raven hasn't responded to me in approximately 0.2 seconds, therefore that means he doesn't like the Marine meme that I sent him, and therefore that means that I'm an awful person, he hates me, he's gonna go and watch some other streamer now, I'm gonna lose viewers, right? How weird is that? Like, we look at this and we go, yo, that's pretty cringe, right? But you think that's the point, right? Normalize leaving people messages. Normalize, I have sent you the thing. You have sent me the thing. I will get to it when I have enough time and I have enough ability. You will get to it when you physically can. It's not that you hate me. It's not that you have any sort of issue with me. You have things going on in your life. And I wonder if there's a duality in dependency where 25 and under, right? 18 to 25, what she's mentioning. Madame, give me a crumb, a morsel of attention, right? Like, sure, as some people label that cringe, but I wonder if it has to do with like being deprived of attention, thus wanting to be easier to be seen going into a committed situation, whereas being deprived that same attention for say 25 to 35 has the opposite effect, where you suddenly have this cold feet, non-committal mentality. This is why I think it's fascinating to look at things like this.
That would be nice. Yeah, and again, there's nothing wrong with being non-committal. But my thing is, I'm committal. So if I meet somebody, they're non-committal, yeah, I'm not going to entertain that.
It just doesn't work.
Okay. I really want to be committal, but I think I need to improve myself. So the thing about self-improvement that I want to be very, very, like, I need to stop you right there, buddy. You deserve love at any stage of your healing journey, period. Okay? That's it. Somebody will love you right now with the extra weight, without the haircut, without you having the perfect job, with you having a mattress on the floor.
Ma'am, respectfully, I am like 265. Nerdy internet user. And I work on the funny red app and the purple apps, right? Respectfully, I am not a prime demographic in any way, shape, or form. I am no one's looking for this. I got that Nezarec bod, and that's fine though, right? Like, I think from a generalized perspective, what she says is acceptable, and it's made in good faith. I feel like the other side of that, the tough love perspective side of that, is like, Okay. There's like 5 different conversations in a trench coat. I'm going to try to work through this as quick as I can, right? Like, the tough love side of that is, yeah, Kip, being 265, looking like Nezarec, probably not a good thing. You should pick up your swords again. You should go do the SCA things again, right? Oh, you know what? Maybe my time management is out of whack. Maybe I should do it. Oh, wait a minute. You mean you're able to find practical ways to improve on yourself, to understand what your faults and your faults and strengths are, and be able to improve on them in a very relevant manner without closing yourself off to opportunities? Contrary to popular belief, you don't have to take the 3 years to work on yourself and close yourself off to everything else to solely focus on that. If someone is willing to work with you, and that's what a relationship is, it's both parties. And that being said, right, and working off of don't close yourself off, right? It's like, sure, what happens if you are this 265 Nezarec dad bod looking dude, right, who works on the funny social media apps all day? Sure, if someone is into that and they're like, I do like the thickness, I'm down with that thickness, right? And there's something genuine there. Sure, that's how that works. I feel like it's trying to put things into boxes too much, and I feel it's closing yourself up to other opportunities. And I think it almost is chasing the perfect relationship, almost like unicorn hunting a little bit, right? But reality, and that's not sustainable. That's not going to be good for your mental.
And that goes for any gender, any sex, any nationality, any income.
Fact.
You can find somebody will love you right now as you are. Bam. That's it. Boom. But I feel like a lot of men do get caught up in this mentality. And just to be clear, I don't blame you. I blame the society. Because the society, as we say, makes it feel like you gotta have a good job. You gotta get a good degree. You gotta, provide. You gotta do all these.
You have to be a provider, or your worth as a man is approximately 0. Get bent, do something with your life. Weird. It's almost like we've all heard this before. It's almost like people do, and don't get me wrong, like across the aisle as well. Like women have intense standards put on them as well, right? And I like to level across the board, right? You have to be thin. You have to fit into a size X. You have to look like this. You need to put on makeup for him. And it's like, bro, dude, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do what you women do. I couldn't do it. No, sir. But I also like that there's acknowledgement that men also have awful situations on them as well. Like, it's awful across the aisle. Like, clearly the focus here is like, no, you guys, you do have these things that you do go through. There's a lot of societal expectation on you, right? Like, and I know a lot of people I've talked to, right? They'll say that like they don't want to feel like they're just there to be a provider, right? They don't want to feel like they're just going to be used. We talked about a friend I had who's literally I can fixed her up. She had an actual like crippling alcohol addiction. And then they sign a lease, this is 3 years after the fact, they're seemingly going well. And then she just says, nah, I'm good. I'm just going to go with this guy I've been talking to for the past 6 months, right? And dude is still, like she's not paying bills. She just went off back to Idaho, unironically. Oh, that's a commentary. And it's like, I don't know, like there's commitment issues across the aisle as well, right? Like I love conversations like these, and these would fit perfect in a podcast format because there are so many intertwining issues. And I think Matara I've already added way too long on this video as is. We're 4 minutes in. It's 17 minutes into a 4-minute video, right? Oh my God, I've talked way too much on this. But like, this is something that I feel very strongly about and very passionate about, and that there are issues, and I'm glad people are talking, and that it is acknowledged that, yeah, men's society expects a lot from you, and it kind of sucks. And that, yeah, from a general perspective, you may think that you need to improve, but realistically, there is, someone who would accept you for who you are. Now, there's an additional commentary on that for what happens if you just sit in your gym shorts and play League of Legends all day and you don't actually shower. Sure, that's going to be hot to somebody, but is that necessarily the attention that you want, right? Thus, we get into more and more conversations.
Things. So you are kind of in the space of, I can't be with a woman unless I have the figure, unless I have the body, unless I'm making the money, unless I'm doing all this stuff.
I will also offer a counterpoint where we've had women on social media tell men that they need to fix themselves and improve themselves, right? This is a pretty still relevant modern social media thing. Men need to be more caring. Men need to be more understanding. Men need to work on themselves more, right? Did we not, men collectively, just kind of say, bet, time to improve ourselves, and then we did the work or are doing the work, and then we get criticized for doing the work? I think that I do have a valid point of contention with modern social media there. Like, I do actually have valid criticism there.
And that's really tough, because then you feel like, well, why would she want to be with me if I can't take her out to a nice dinner?
Yeah.
She wants to be with you and go for a walk with you and have an ice cream with you.
The dream.
That's it. She just wants an ice cream with you. She just wants to know that if she complains about her day, that you're there for her. That's it. But that's the hard part that I feel that and again, I don't know how to fix it. Politicians don't know how to fix it. Society doesn't know how to fix it. I'm just doing my best, right? But yeah. I do think you should be self-improving for yourself,
yes,
not for your partner.
Girl, wear the makeup for you, not for him, right? That whole thing that was on social media and talking about how makeup is not for men, but it's for me. It's that exact thing. If you want to get swole goals as a dude, do it because you want to do it. If you want to get into a hobby, if you want to get into a thing, do it because you want to do it. Girl, if you want to do something, do it because you want to do it, right? And you will attract people based on that. And that actually leads into the commentary we've had multiple times, where in doing these things, thus you have the third place being someplace that is not home and is not where you work, right? That third place you can go to, where that's going to be something like church, country club, bar, bowling alley, arcade, etc., that you can go to make connections, to meet like-minded individuals, to build rapport with people, and thus how the death of the third place, right? You don't really have that third place anymore, leads on to knock-on effects for people in society. Like, this all interweaves in on each other.
And I think it's more important nowadays more than ever, especially with women making money and then more men choosing to, like maybe stay at home, be stay-at-home dads, be like stay-at-home husbands, things like that.
Dude, I do it. I work on the internet. Are you kidding me? Dude, I would weigh the house husband so hard.
To be there for each other emotionally. I think in the past, it was more like, the man has to provide and do all this stuff. And I was like, you're a team. You're a team. If you choose to want to be in that kind of a partnership or dynamic or relationship, I don't know if you're polyamorous or not. I don't know. But
the nuclear family, it can be good, right? I know a lot of people issue criticism on it. Hear me out. The nuclear family, for all intents and purposes, dad, mom, 2 kids, your white picket fence dream, right? That is an outline that you can go for, and there's nothing wrong with wanting the nuclear family. As there's nothing wrong for, say, if you want to be in a polyamorous relationship, as much as people are going to have criticism on that, and that's fine. If polyamory is not for you, perfectly fine. Just don't be weird about it. If you don't think the nuclear family is for you, don't be weird about it. It works for somebody. And you can use these pre-established outlines to try to get to your end goal. And you could end up in a situation where, hypothetically, you get with somebody and you say that you both are kind of curious about polyamory, but you want to see where it goes. You want to be monogamous for X period of time, and that you both eventually down the line mutually agree. Mutually agree is the key word here, that you maybe want to add something into the mix, right? And again, you also have to be very wary of unicorn hunting, which is kind of frowned upon, right? Kind of not a good dynamic from what I've heard from people. It's like, so you might start with a nuclear family, or you might start with a polyamorous situation, or you might start with whatever situation, and it evolves into something itself unique, distinct, and different, right? That's the point. But you can use things like the nuclear family as a guideline to try to see what you want, right? Me, I feel it'd be super restrictive. Then again, at the same time, I also look at polyamorous situations, having called situations friends have gotten into, polyamorous situations, I've called their go downhill, watched as they went downhill. I don't tell them I told you so, because there's nothing gained from that. I'm just supportive and go, yeah, that kind of sucks, right? I know it's not going to be for me. It's going to be a situation that I guarantee you no one's going to communicate as well as I can. Wow, I feel really, really self-conscious. Oh, God, I sound like a jerk there. But I do have a certain level of expectation of communication. You must communicate like an adult in a basic relationship with me, or else you're not worth my time. Much less a polyamorous situation. If you can't communicate, why am I going to waste my time on you? And that should be the same thing across the spectrum. You, fabulous lady, if I could not communicate in a relationship, why are you going to waste your time with someone like me, right? Like, communication, consent, and respect, they're not hard pillars to meet.
I definitely do feel like there's a lot of folks that worry that they can't date unless they get skinny, or unless they get a better job, or unless they finish their school. But realistically, it doesn't matter if you haven't finished your healing or your stuff. You still deserve, you can be loved at any point of your journey.
Yeah.
You should be. The whole point of self-improvement, right, is you're self-improving for yourself. I just accepted I'm going to grow old alone. But when you accept that, that's when you make it a reality. Like, it's defeat. You're defeating yourself before you even start. Yeah, Steele. I like that one too, where it's like both. You want to be in a relationship with somebody where it's 50-50, but both people keep wanting to do 60-40. You want to be with somebody that always wants to give you the 60. No, the thing is, you have a choice with this kind of stuff. It's like, for this stuff to get solved, it would take generations. It would take generations of different living, different stuff. I'll give you an example, right? Like, in a lot of Western countries, right? A woman couldn't rent an apartment or open a bank account.
Dude, oh my God. I've had my mom talk about this. 1990s. Maybe it was a little bit before. I'm trying to remember. I know my mother and I have actually had this conversation on how dumb it was. You, as a woman, could not get a loan, a bank loan, or a credit card without a man's signature, right? Whether it be husband, boy. That blows my mind. You're gonna have people go, oh, the good old days, bro. That is so archaic. That is so dumb. Right? Respectfully, we will disagree on that point. We will disagree. I will. I cannot say that that's good because it's not. Like, I'm also more of a fan of people being individuals, right? Like, I meet plenty of people each and every day, whether that's by comment section, going outside at random, etc. Right? And it's like, okay, you're just John or Jane random, right? Prove that you're someone legit, right? Like, I don't know, 6 foot something lady walking down the aisle, right? And you're just going about your day, and it's like, wow, okay, you're 6 foot something, you're confident, that's really cool. Or what was the other one I saw? Like actual, like straight up goth status walking around in like Idaho summer heat. And I'm just like, damn, okay, that's pretty bueno, right? And obviously that's superficial, like looking at somebody, right? But like at the end of the day, like sell yourself to somebody, right? Especially if you're interested in somebody, right? If you're just walking by, no one really cares. That's not the same. Look at a dating sphere. It's like, okay, someone like me is going to be like genuine. I'm going to talk a lot, right? I'm going to try to work through things. One of my character flaws is going to be stuck in my own head, right? And it's like, cool, I presented you all this information up front. Okay, now you have the information to say, yeah, this is cool, or no, this isn't cool, right? Certain conversations, right? If they're going to turn you away, probably not going to be a good relationship, right? Where somebody who can watch the Lootcast podcast and keep up with everything being said and go, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like consent is a huge thing there. If there's clearly no consent in this situation, right? Say if it was a situation talking about, someone drinking a little too much, right? Drunk people cannot consent. If Austin Powers can acknowledge that someone drunk cannot consent, come on now, let's speed it up. Let's all get on the same page already, right? But like, if you struggle, like if you hear the word shibari and you're kind of like, you kind of shy away from the conversation. Not that I present it in a weird way, but it's like, yeah, no. I've watched creators like Project Melody who mentioned shibari. I mean, it's a subject I don't know enough about. Sure, seems interesting. I know a lot of people like it, not necessarily for a not safe for work perspective, but from an artistic perspective because all the knots and stuff, right? It's like, if you can't handle that, probably not going to be a good mix, because it's like at the very minimum, someone like me openly communicates. Someone like me is openly like direct, and at minimum, it's one of those things where like I will over communicate, and that tells the other part that puts the ball in their court. And if they want to walk away, that's perfectly fine. I think that a lot more people need to get on that communication tech, because that communication tech solves so many issues. And if anything, even if you disagree, she could be a 10, right, guys? Guys, she could be a 10. But if she doesn't care about you or she can't communicate like an adult, why would we bother? Ladies, if he doesn't care about you and just wants to use you for trophy wife status, and you don't want to be a trophy wife, because there's some people who do want to, and that's good for them. Why would you want to care about that? Non-binary peeps, if somebody just constantly continues to belittle and berate you, why would you want to deal with them? Like, communication literally solves all of this.
You're in the 1900s, right? That was not that long ago.
Yeah.
That's only a few generations. There's a lot of stuff that is still very, very new, and it's going to take a while. I think a lot of this is just with different times. I need people to stop thinking that they can only be loved when they get their degree, when they get their job, when they get their body. You can be loved at any point in your life. I'm just letting you know. You are deserving of love right now. Right now. Okay? You are deserving of love right now. Right now. So we're yapping a little bit about that, and I was basically saying how I'm in this weird position where I am very committal. I want to have a life with somebody and commit, but I also am very picky, because I think that for somebody to be my future husband and to have the chance to be cannibalized by me,
yes. I mean, what?
I want to be very picky with who I let into my inner life and inner circle.
Yeah.
I'm a lot more sensitive than I let on, so I'm very picky. They have to be, have to do a lot of stuff. But unfortunately, I'm in a weird place where most men between 25 and 35 are extremely non-committal, and I'm not blaming them, by the way. I blame society and God. It's just, it's a weird time, weird upbringing, weird everything. Everyone's going through it. Nobody's sure how to. Oh, I'm so sensitive. Oh my goodness, I'm such a sensitive little cockroach. But so I'm kind of in a weird spot where men under 25 are like, madam, please, madam, slot me in. Give me a chance, madam. I will make you a mother of so many children. We're like, please, madam, just let me in.
Oh
I can cure you of your loneliness. And men over 35 are usually like, yeah, I could treat you nice. And men between 25 and 35, I'm sorry you got it rough. But from my own experience and from a lot of my girlfriends' experiences, you are a little bit more on the non-committal side. I don't blame you. Just to be clear, I'm not like, but, I think it's one of those things where I don't blame you for being non-committal. Don't blame me for being committal. If I meet you and I say, hey, I'm committal, and you say I'm non-committal, I go, okay, well, bye-bye. There's nothing here for us. No, I don't want to hold hands and cuddle and talk into the night because you're not committal, but I am.
Yeah,
so
makes sense. Respect yourself.
I'm 39 committal and want to do your dishes. That's a big plus.
Amazing. I don't know. And that's the thing is I've talked about a number of preconceptions that I've honestly had wrong, right? Maybe, and I've notoriously said, like, look, under the age of 25, like, what is there to talk about, right? In an actual like dating experience, like what is there to talk about, right? And I often, talk about the party experience, right? You're 18, 19, 22, and you're still going to house parties and stuff. But I wonder how much of that is actually like a thing versus how much of that's actually just like fiction, right? And even then, like I've gotten proven wrong several times in the past couple of years because someone ends up being like 19, 20, 21. And they can absolutely talk to me about mortgages. They can talk to me about legal. They can talk to me about, a number of things. So I don't know. It's been a strange journey, right? I mean, on one hand, you need to be cognizant of the age gap, right? Because society in itself looks at an age gap and they go, really, I know my parents' generation used the term cradle robber, right? Where it's not that they're actually going with, actual literal children, but, it's like someone who's like 40 going with someone who's 18, 19. But you also have to, what's the intent here, right? I don't know. I've also always had a biased opinion where it's like, I'm sorry, you mean she can be 40, 50? Has a house, has her life set up, and she's honestly just looking for, someone who isn't brain dead, someone who's actually going to be an adult. I see nothing wrong with this. But then again, so people look at, well, Kip, you can't, as someone who was 25 or 30, date someone who's 45 or 50. There's too much of an age gap there. And the age gap gets a little weird for people, right? I don't know. That's one of those that's subjective to each situation. Every case should be treated differently. And even then, it's one of those that I've been proven wrong time and time again, where it's like, someone 20, 21 or 22 can just, talk circles around me into something that I thought I knew enough about. And I do have, bearing to talk about it, but clearly they have more experience in the thing and they can talk more. It's been fascinating. I don't know. Maybe it's one of those things where it's just like, self-improvement journey, 25 to 35s. Look what the younger generations are doing, right? Not necessarily that you have to agree with it, not necessarily you have to emulate it, but understand, right? To not in a conversation, you have to, yes, respect what the other person's saying, but also understand where they're coming from for true understanding. And I think that might be a part of this as well. I've yapped for way too long on this one. Matara put an amazing video out on this one. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I thought it was really cool. I tried to add a lot of points onto this because honestly, there's just a lot you can add to a situation like this. But there's so many conversations and so many subjects that interweave within this that for me it becomes a little hard to streamline the discussion. That is definitely a fault of what I do, trying to freeform this. But thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Matara, for an amazing discussion. I absolutely enjoyed this, and thank you. The Clipper channel, Tsubasa Indie, for an amazing clip, amazing segment on this. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Hopefully you enjoyed this as well. Hopefully you got something out of this, or maybe this makes you self-reflect and maybe think about things in a different light. I'll see you all in the next one.